Right, welcome to Football Filling, everybody. We've got a nice little show for you today. To my left, I've got Big Ben Tozer, the mainstay of the show, Super Dave Watson, and then to his right, Stuart Dallas. This is a nice little quad of people today. Lads, how are we all? All good?
Oh, amazing, mate.
Yeah?
All good, yeah.
Nice to see you. A couple, I'm fantastic, thank you. Heavy weekend, but fantastic. Three of our favourite Foscast guests we've got sitting with us today. And funnily enough, you two actually know each other, don't you? I didn't know this, but when you walked in, you were sat down here, Stuart walked in, and he said, yes, Toes, how are you, mate? And you were like, Stuart, how are you? So where's the connection, lads?
Stu came on loan to Northampton when I was there.
I did not know that.
A long, long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. Been on the end of a few bolligans from him as well.
I can imagine. Isn't he?
See him again.
That's what he's like, isn't he? Like, he don't care. He takes no prisoners.
Longest throw in football, hasn't he?
He's so miserable, isn't he?
Nah, I wouldn't say miserable. I'd say winner.
On the
Well, winner.
All good, mate?
Yeah, really good. I didn't realise the Northampton connection because obviously even my coaching career started in Northampton.
Of course it did, didn't
it's
it?
Like, you're up against the cobblers here, mate.
That's what I was about to say. What's the nickname of Northampton? It's the Cobblers, isn't it?
Yeah,
right, Premier League weekend. Another decent weekend of footy, lads. We're going to kick it off with Brighton against Man City. A little bit of drama after the pitch, but what a win for Brighton. Man City, though, what's going on, lads? Toes, what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know if it is a crisis or not. I think, obviously the first time he's lost in four games in a row in his whole career, I think it is. And I don't know whether it's the injuries, whether it's him moaning in the press and that's causing negativity around the club or just a bit of misfortune, really. I mean, they've had plenty of chances in the first half and the same in the week in the Champions League, the same. They just didn't put them away. So I don't really know. I can't put my finger on it.
Stu, do you reckon, I've got a little theory, right, where I think it's almost like people have started to work Man City out a little bit, yeah? And this only happens when Man City lose or draw or drop points, right? But it seems to me, think back to Fulham, like it was about a month ago, wasn't it? 6 weeks, you remember? And it's like Fulham found a way to counter-attack Man City, almost try and soak the pressure up, not let goals in, which is very hard to do. But if you can do that and hit them on the counter-attack and everybody on the same page, but it seems to me that's the only way to really get at City, isn't it?
Yeah, I think teams... Obviously, it's Man City, and I think at times teams show them a bit too much respect, especially in the first half. I think you've seen it at the weekend. Brighton, to me, showed them too much respect in the first half. In the second half, they got right after them, and it started causing them problems. But I don't know if there's a bit of... Obviously, Pep hasn't signed a new deal, has he? So I don't know if there's a bit of stuff going on behind the scenes. Is he going to leave? Is he not? Is that disrupting things? I don't know. As players, you never really looked into that, but you just never know at City what...
If it gets to this stage of the season and Pep's still not signed a new contract, is that ominous?
I think it's ominous for the players at City, but I'll be honest with you, like, worked in football a long time, especially on the coaching side. I'm really glad he's lost 4 in a row because, like, I can't remember what it was like to win 4 in a row. So losing 4 in a row were like regular occurrence for me, and it's just like normal. And he should have them feelings. I think that he's not signed a contract would have some effect. I think he made a real strange decision in playing the young centre half when he's got Akanji and Ake on the bench. I think that is a strange but big statement. Because obviously it's putting faith in a young lad, which we've all had to start somewhere. So a young player needs to get confidence and belief from a manager.
It's a tough place to go. Brighton away. It's so tough.
And when they've then obviously been on the back of 3 defeats, and you know what's going to come if they get beat again. And I think that were a lot of... I'm not saying the young lad were at fault for what happened, but I think...
They did seem to target him, though, didn't they?
And you rightly would, but what do you think as senior players in your team when Akanji or Aki's not starting and he's put that young kid in for such a big game? If you two are playing, you're not quite sure what you feel, are you?
What you do as the opposition, you kind of target the weak link, don't you? Yeah. And that's going to be seen as the weak link automatically. Yeah, and in the week, he looked like the weak link. Saturday, the second half, in behind Walker as well. There's a few question marks about him now, isn't there? Because Adama Traore smoked.
Yeah, but you're talking like people say like he's losing his pace, right? You're talking about the other fastest person in the Premier League. Yeah, it's not like he's losing pace. It's just that the other fastest person in the Premier League might have just beat him or bullied him out of the way.
It's hard for me to talk about pace, by the way. You know, I appreciate the fact that it's still very, very.
But
good.
I thought on one of the actions which led to the goal actually, Walker's so tight inside, trying to protect him.
Yeah, he was.
He got too tight.
You see him looking over his shoulder, and he's sort of like thinking, do I go out to Matoma?
And I think that's just because that young lad, if Akanji or Aki's playing there, that action doesn't quite fit. I think the dynamic of it, and ultimately, look, Guardiola's been a god, hasn't he, to the Premier League, to Man City. But, you know, when you don't sign that contract, there's a lot more questions than answers.
Rumours.
And maybe behind the scenes, there's things like that happening. But I think the first half, I'm like you, Tozer, I thought they could have blown them away. It could have been game finished.
Yeah.
Verbruggen made 2 or 3 saves. Haaland, you know, he's hitting the target. He's made them work. But second half, you know, they made a change at half-time, got right up against them. They thought, right, game's gone, really. We're lucky to be in it. We'll go and give them a fight.
Yeah, should we give Brighton a little
bit of credit?
Because on paper, you would say normally Man City, but away at Brighton, I'll always back Brighton. I think they're one of them teams. Bournemouth at home, very similar as well. I would back Brighton to give anybody a game at home.
Yeah, they're good. I think they're good. The manager works teams out. He plays different ways. Yeah, I think you've got to pay them full respect. They went to Arsenal. They picked up a draw.
Man United,
yeah.
Yeah, but that's a gimme, isn't it, Man United?
They probably should have beat Liverpool a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, are City out of the title race then, lads?
No.
Was it 5 points?
Would you still back them to win it?
Yeah.
Even at this point?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I want somebody. I have to say, I were pleased because I want somebody else to win it. I want somebody else to win it.
Yeah. I wouldn't put money on them, but I wouldn't write them off.
No, exactly.
Sitting on the fence. I just think they've too much quality. Liverpool are obviously flying at the minute, aren't they? But they're going to go through a sticky
Yeah, everybody's going to do it because the level of the league's so high, isn't it? And that's why ultimately Brighton have always kind of gone under the radar, even though if we know that going to the Amex is a real tough place. They seem to be producing players, producing managers and coaches that seem to be able to just fit into that Premier League model, which is incredible. But the big thing I thought post the end of the game, and we were talking about it off camera, what's the thing with like Pep at the end of the game with Van Heck? I mean, how do you? What's your thoughts on that? If you were playing and he came up to you, I were coaching at Southampton. They beat us very last kick of the match at City, and he had the same thing with Nathan Redmond. It was like a 10-minute conversation. It's so frustrating. So
Sterling stick one in the corner.
Oh, mate, honestly, you're dying on your feet, and then Guardiola's talking to your own players, and it's frustrating to see. But like, what do you make of the one from the weekend?
I don't like it, lads. I don't like it one little bit. I really don't. I don't think he's got any any reason to be on there giving Van Heck that much beef. Because he was giving him beef as well. He was talking about the Erling Haaland situation.
Van Heck
was a long handshake as well, wasn't it?
I know it was silly, but he doesn't need to get involved.
The handshake,
But I just don't like it, lads. I think Van Heck is well within his rights there to give him a little push away and go, oi, go away. You go to your team. I'll deal with mine. Hello, yeah?
You've got to play the game, haven't you?
Yes, Pep. Cheers, Pep. Thank you very much. You've had a nice little interaction with Pep, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Obviously, when you see that, it's a bit strange. To me, it's just frustration that they've lost. It's a bit alien-like, isn't it? That they've lost 4 games in a row, and it's like he quite doesn't know how to...
Don't know how to act.
Yeah, but obviously, at my injury come against Man City, and whenever I used to go to the games then, when I was injured, he always made time to come and see me and ask me how I was doing, so I like him.
Yeah, and rightly so.
We'll let him off.
Albeit it was off camera.
We'll let him off
when Jose Mourinho used to do that handshake before full time.
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels a little bit like that. It's
I agree,
bit
mate.
of an ego thing.
It is,
look at
isn't
me, make sure the cameras are on me.
Yeah.
Don't forget who I am.
Oh, he knows the cameras are on him. He definitely knows the cameras are on him. And quickly, Matt O'Reilly with the winner. Did you see his little dance?
I saw his little dance. Very similar to my kind of dancing skills, if I'm honest. Yeah, very much so. But I was really pleased for him, obviously. A big move for him. Got injured so early on in the time. To come on and have an impact like that and score the winning goal, that's what he came down to the Premier League for.
All right, let's talk about Liverpool Villa then, lads. Steamrolling it, lads. Absolutely steamrolling it. Liverpool fan as a kid?
Yeah.
You're allowed to admit that? You're allowed to admit that?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay.
Listen, Slot is, I think, 15 and 16 or 17 games, 15 wins. So they're flying high. They're frightening on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
Frightening. But Villa's defending was...
woeful.
Talk about their defending then quickly, right? Talk about Mo Salah's goal, okay?
Yeah.
We've got a defender next to us, right? We've got a centre-back next to us, right? When Morgan Rogers is getting back in there, okay, why does he decide to try and just run behind the goalkeeper? Why doesn't he just try and push Mo Salah out as wide as he can, get close to him and put him off?
But then you've got to...
You've got
to give them credit now. The Liverpool attackers, the two that sprint with Salah to cause the.
But surely it's like you've got to put the fire out immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of almost over-egg it, don't you? You shut off the pass and then you just go, right, Salah's quicker than me, but he's not right footed.
Yeah, go straight for him.
Over-egg it. But yeah, he went there and, I don't know, he made his mind up for him, didn't he?
I don't want Mo Salah getting a shot off. I don't. No, From 8 yards out on the end, I don't want Mo Salah getting a shot off.
It's a goal, don't you, straight away?
10 goals. 10 goals and 10 assists.
As soon as Carlos headed it into him, you're thinking goal, aren't you?
Yeah.
I thought goal straight away. And as soon as Conser didn't go, look, he can't engage too much because the pass becomes too easy. But because he left him so long, Martinez must just be thinking,
what are you doing, mate?
What are you doing here, mate? I mean, he's let him get to within about 5 yards of him.
But as a defender, you've got so many questions that you're asking yourself as that's happening. You're going, one, he's quick. Two, do I let him pass it because he's deadly?
Yeah.
And I don't know, you just kind of think, right, try and keep on his right foot. It just didn't do.
Is it almost
I think he's just got to go. He's just got to go to Salah because, as you say, 8 yards out, you can't allow Salah to have that. But
a free shot as well.
If he goes and Salah squares it, well, Conser's like, I had a decision.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he ends in a goal and it kills him. But Villa's strength was probably their biggest weakness at the weekend.
Yeah.
Set pieces and Liverpool
that first goal,
catching them on the counter.
First goal, was it Bailey at the back?
Yeah.
But he was like 10 yards in front of the halfway line still, wasn't it? I know it's the way that they're being told to push up and press, but...
Oh, it's crazy.
If he'd have given himself that 10 yards, he wouldn't have ended up in a foot race with Salah.
You obviously, you've done set pieces when you were at Southampton, when you were playing against Liverpool. Was that the biggest scare for you?
Yeah,
the
look,
biggest threat is that counter-attack?
We'd be working and you'd be thinking we've got a massive chance here because you're not going to get too many actions in the game. But like it were interesting because Mane would take up that same Salah position, and I used to say to Nathan Redmond or whoever were in that position,
would you just find somebody quick, basically?
Just
stay there,
match up there, and on that contact, if we lose it, I basically told him fucking rugby tackle.
Abandon the ball
in our 18-yard.
Don't worry about the ball.
It does not matter because there's not much going to happen. But like, and to be fair, it was the biggest thing, the counter-attack at that point. We used to try and ring with 3, then we'd try and ring with 2, and you'd have one back just as a thing. But interestingly enough, the one that's here switches off so much and drifts into a position, and we got done on a goal because they didn't stay here, just drift, trying to win and try and help these two out. Honestly, it was the biggest thing. But you have to stop the threat at the start because when you're a zonal setup, that ball, when you knock it in and they're coming out, if they win that first ball, it is game over.
Game over. Is this what Arne Slotter's brought to Liverpool then, is it, do you think? Is this one of the biggest changes? I know a lot of people saying it's a bit more methodical, a bit more structured from build-up, but is the counter-attack, is this something they've always had, or is this they really rely on this?
I think that's still a knock-on effect from Klopp.
Yeah.
I would say that's more so from Klopp. I think he's tried to have more what he calls ball possession and real controlled positions and ball possession. I think the energy of the transition and the counter-attack is all still built from Klopp. But what he's been very clever at is he's a manager with his own methods and his own thought process, but you don't take away from any of the real positive stuff that Klopp did. And yes, he wants more ball possession than what probably Klopp had because he was a bit more, gung-ho in terms of a ping-pong game, but he's more possession-based for sure. But on that transition or counter-attack,
scary.
Oh my God,
what's the thoughts from Liverpool fans of Darwin Nunez? Do you all absolutely love him?
Yeah, I think he's a real handful. Obviously, he can be a bit more clinical. I think he misses a lot of chances, but I can't help but like him. I think he offers something different, and he's a workhorse, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to defend against him,
he has everything, doesn't he? He's strong, quick. He can score a goal, but also he's going to need a few chances to score.
Is he a little bit reminiscent of Erling Haaland, where he can create chances for himself that other people can't?
Yeah.
And he will do that, and he will get in them positions. It's an opportunity, but he is missing a fair few of them, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll score the goal, and you'll go, wow, what a goal that is.
Where'd that come from?
He'll also miss a chance, you go, wow, how did he miss that?
Yeah.
So it's a bit, I think he's got that pace, that power, all the fundamentals to be...
He's just raw. He's just raw still, isn't he?
I think he has improved a bit from he come in.
I think so too.
But he's, as you say, he's raw. He gets 3, 4, 5 chances in the game, and he's maybe one. Like the header he missed.
Yeah.
He was shown to feet, and then he actually spins.
The run's incredible, isn't it?
Incredible,
I think he's improved massively, but I don't think he's ever going to be a constant goal scorer in terms of the finishing.
No.
I just don't think he's going to change that.
But I think with Liverpool you can get away with that because
Yeah.
you have a Salah or you have a Diaz or a Gakpo or somebody that's still getting
no,
goals.
sure, because you
Fair
talk
play as well to the fans. They're sticking with
Yeah,
him. They're
because
showing him the
I
love.
think-
If they weren't showing him the love, he might go under. But
because you talk about the other guy at the other side of the city for them, Calvert-Lewin.
yeah.
Very similar, isn't he? You know, how many chances does he miss one-on-one? But for Everton, that becomes a real pivotal part of the game because they're not creating the bag full of
This is why we
chances.
should have come back at strikers in our next live, lads, yeah? You get let off the hook so many times, all right? We make a mistake, goal, game over, you're out the team, punished, all right? If you're a striker, sweet, next one. You'll get the next one, lads, don't worry about it. What about Aston Villa then, lads? Down to 9th now. I know it sounds pretty bad at 9th, but they're still only 1 point behind 3rd. So it's not the end of the world, but that's 6 games without a win now, 4 losses in a row. What's happened to Villa?
I think the Champions League has a massive effect on them. Huge, in fact. You know, obviously, before the last round of games, they'd won 3 out of 3. And the energy levels that they need to transfer into that, even though I think the manager's superb, I think they've got a really good squad, they've got depth in the squad. Ultimately, it still has an accumulation.
They've had some
and an
tough
effect
matches,
on
in fairness.
And they've
as
had,
well.
yeah,
they've had
tough
matches, yeah.
tough fixtures. But if they're going to try and get back in that Champions League, they need to make a statement. And look, Watkins is I think, a phenomenal player, but he looks like he's finding the physicality of 2 massive games a week. Yeah. It's tough for him. And the way he plays on the shoulder, you know.
Okay, Super Sunday, Chelsea-Arsenal then, lads. Do we watch this one for our Sunday dinner, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we reckon?
I think Arsenal, on a whole, controlled the game, but I think Chelsea probably looked the most dangerous out of the 2. Although, saying that, Arsenal had enough chances to probably win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you see the game. There were 2 big question marks in the game for me. 1 player for Arsenal, 1 player for Chelsea. So mine won for Arsenal, Odegaard on his return. How did you see it?
Incredible. Beautiful player, mate. It's exactly what they've been screaming out for the last, couple of months that he's been out. That's what I mean. He's been out for good 8 weeks or so, and that creativity, it's just...
Like, that bit of magic
big ask,
well.
Massive ask, isn't it? When you've been out with a bad ankle injury as well. Like, to come back and just boss it like he did, I thought that for Arsenal was a massive boost. And I know going forward they'll be buzzing. But the big thing that I took away from this game was, and it was similar for Chelsea last week against Man United as well, is I just feel they lack a little bit of belief going into these big games, all right? I watch them against some of the other teams, Palace and whoever, and they're absolutely popping, they're flying, they look like they know they want to win the game. But when they play the big boys, I feel they go into it thinking, don't lose. Just don't lose the game. Whereas I want to see them, and like we said before the show, maybe that's a progression thing where next season you might see that from them. But at the minute, I just feel they're going into the big ones, especially going, just don't lose us today.
But you're not used to that, are you? Because the Chelsea of old, they were a winning machine. And the mentality that got created over that period of time, especially when Mourinho were really successful, you don't think you'd have that conversation about Chelsea now, but maybe you're right. But I thought their standout performer was Cucurella. You know, as a wide player yourself, I thought he did amazing against Saka.
Yeah, he's come on massively because I think there was question marks about him when he first signed. And
a lot of money though, 50 mil, weren't it? Remember?
A lot of pressure. But
it was like a little rat.
We love a rat.
He's a good player. Obviously, Neto in front of him as well.
Yeah.
It's 2 I wouldn't fancy playing against.
No,
I think it's a better point for Chelsea than Arsenal. I think Chelsea are slowly progressing, or you could say fastly because of where they are. Yeah. Because at the start of the season, even back end of last season, they were a bit...
Saying that even
really
like,
with the players they had and stuff. But
like what you said though about, I'm a bit disappointed in Chelsea because like you said, it's a better point for Chelsea. I think they should have been looking at this a game that they can win. Yeah. Look at Arsenal's form that they were in, what the injuries they've had. Odegaard, coming back, but he's not fit. Can we make the most of it? I just think, for me, the way that if they want to push on, they have to look at that.
You know what it's like though, lads. You know what I'm saying when I say, you know what it's like as that team. You can be on the front foot more. You can really try and push it and press it and try to win the game. But I just feel they're still at that moment, at this point, just don't lose. Don't really push it. Don't really go for it. But Chelsea at home, I agree with you. I think it was a golden opportunity to try and take 3 points.
I think they relied too much on Palmer, and Palmer was a little bit off yesterday.
A little bit off it. He's been off it against Man United last week. I heard a couple of people on TalkSport actually saying about Cole Palmer not necessarily doing it in the big games as well. I want to see him really taking games like this.
Well, the question is, look, I thought Neto, obviously, magnificent
stepped
goal,
up
star
yesterday,
man.
yeah.
But the big question is, like you've just alluded to, has Palmer gone cold in these big games?
Yeah, I like it. Cole Palmer, very good. What do you make of the Arsenal goal, Martinelli then, Robert Sanchez in particular?
Yeah, look, from a goalkeeping perspective, is he exposed there when he takes his touch? Yeah, for sure. But rather than be reactive, he's got to be proactive. As soon as he has a good touch, you can't just open the goal out and see him, mate, side-foot it in. He's got to be driving out there.
Shut that space down.
Shutting the space, big and brave. Take one on the ball, in the balls, take one in the face, whatever to keep that ball out the net.
I don't like the way he automatically reverted to a spread instead of actually backing himself and saying, do you know what, I'm going to stand my ground, I'm going to try and react to something. If you're not going to go and shut that space off and try and get in his face, then you've got to say, right, I'm going to back myself here to try and react to something. And I think if he would have done, I reckon he could make mistakes. It's not far away, is it?
But Stu, if you're in that same position and the goalie don't come and confront you, unless you hit him, he's got no time to. He's past him. And that's what I don't understand. When you take such a good touch, he's got to be flying out the traps because he's never making that.
It all seemed a bit of slow motion to me. It was as if...
Too easy.
Yeah, it was too... But it was as if they thought he was offside or something. I know that obviously Colwell had 2 or 3 yards or whatever and played him on. But as you say, Sanchez, I thought... You're the goalkeeper, so you should...
Mate, honestly, my eyes would be lining up. Seriously, I'm thinking, I'm going to hurt you here. This sounds really bad, but the ball's going to drop to him. He's going to take this slow turn. He's not looking at me. He's looking at the ball. That's the moment.
But when you're flying out and committing like that, he has so many thought processes in them microseconds that anything could happen. But just standing in the goal...
Martinelli must have thought, what, like...
Yeah, I'm not a goalkeeper, and I'm far from knowing what I'm talking about in terms of goalkeeping. But that chance that Martinelli had in the first half, was it? First
when
half, when he hit it across it, the amount of space that Sanchez left in the near post again.
Positional
and I'm thinking,
hey, you know, when you talk about this aggressive centre half, what would you have said to him in goal if he just stood there like that and said, "Oh, go on, mate, have a shot. I'm not bothered."
That's fuzzy for you.
Yeah, probably, mate. I like it. Spurs, Ipswich. Spurs being Spursy. I put Dominic Solanke as my FPL captain this week, lads. And obviously he draws a blank and Spurs go and lose. But is Ange Postecoglou under pressure, Stuart? Because that's 5 defeats now out of 11 games in the Premier League this season. Spurs fans are not happy.
Yeah, they're not happy, are they? Spurs, for me, is a bit of a strange one. I can't quite work them out. I don't know. Defensively, they're all over the place at times. When they play well, they're nice to watch.
They're incredible when they play well.
Yeah, but I just don't... I can't figure them out at the minute because that was a golden opportunity for them to, again, I think to go third or fourth or something like that with a win. So the pressure is mounting on him, I think. I think you can see that in his... After the game is, you know, when he done his...
He's getting a bit spiky now, isn't he? He's getting a bit spiky.
Not even now. He's been like that all season pretty much because you think if you win one, lose one, win one, lose one, every other game he's having a press conference where he has not a meltdown, but he is biting back, isn't he, for fun?
Yeah, but I think that's just him. I like him. I think he's really honest in his approach with interviews, everything. And I think he's a winner.
Yeah.
And I think the whole Tottenham model over years, they're just, I don't know, they're not happy with him, but I don't know, I just think it's a bit...
I just thought Spurs looked a bit passive.
Well, that was my point.
Was no intensity.
From the game. Yeah. I mean, there were some running stats came up.
I seen that actually, first half.
And really, that's... Because obviously Spurs have got the better group of players, and I think McKenna's done an incredible job with Ipswich to be where they're at. But the one thing, the only chance Ipswich have got, if they can fight harder, compete for duels, but run over the top of them, then they've got a chance. But like for Spurs, that has to be their minimum because they've got a bigger quality at their disposal. If they match that intensity and running power, they've got a chance.
Which is what his style is. His style is playing at an intensity. I watched, obviously, a lot of the Scottish League, and when he was with Celtic, they blew teams away in the first 60, 70.
Are these Spurs players Ange Postecoglou type players then? Do you know what I mean? Like if he wants his team to be high tempo and really pressing, getting in people's faces, up, down, are these the sort of players that are going to be able to do that for him?
It's a good question. I think they've showed at times that they can do it, but I think obviously that was strange at the weekend. But the way he's playing as well at a high line, there's only so many times you can get away with that.
Well, they played a high line and they got a big Dragosan. Tozer, you know better than me, you're big centre-back. He looked a little bit cumbersome, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously a very, very good player, far better than I am. But it just, I don't know, it was almost like the confidence as well in him from the other teammates wasn't there like it is with Van der Veen. They kind of have that security blanket, don't they, where they just I don't know. It wasn't a very convincing performance.
It's a massive win for Ipswich, okay? Like Sammy Smodic, Liam Delap, 6 goals a season, lads, for Liam Delap, is it? Yeah, Sammy Smodic, 3 now. Massive win for them, right? I saw a thing on, it's the Gary Neville podcast, not Gary Neville, Gary Lineker podcast, right? And the question was, how hard is it to be a top-level footballer, right? How hard is it? And he basically went and says, it's ridiculous. The level is incredible, right? And then Micah Richards fills in and says, yeah, even between Championship up to Premier League is a massive golfing class as well. You'll have Championship players scoring 30-odd goals a season. They'll come up into the Premier League and they're barely scoring 5, 10.
He's a perfect man to ask for that.
There we go then. Yeah. What is that difference in level between top-level Premier League striker, top-level Championship striker?
Yeah, I never scored in the Championship. I actually scored more in the Prem. And
you were designed for that level.
Yeah, there is a huge. I think ruthlessness is one thing. Yeah. I think in the Premier League you don't get a lot of chances. Certainly coming from a, I don't mean any disrespect till teams coming up, but from lower league clubs coming into the Premier League, you're not going to get so many. When we were with Leeds, we were dominating the Championship, but when we go to the Premier League, we're not creating as many chances. But I think just being ruthless is a huge effect. I don't know. I wasn't ever a top quality striker, so I don't really know. But it's I would say just being ruthless.
There's obviously ones that do fly in the face of that. Jamie Vardy, for example. Do you know what I mean? He comes up through the league, hits the Premier League, and oh my!
There's always a caveat to it, but the big question is then: is Smodic a Premier League player?
I think it's a good start for him. 3 goals for a struggling Ipswich team. I mean, going at this rate, he's looking at nearly hitting 10 for the season. Liam Delap should get into double figures for the season for Ipswich, and if they can stay up, they're going to have to get them sort of numbers, but they're going to have to stop conceding goals. Fantastic performance, great win, but some of the goals they've let in this season, that's what's going to kill them this year.
I mean, the second goal, did you see it playing out from the back?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they got away with it, but that's why they do it, to suck everyone on. To get the spaces in behind. But, I mean, unconventional way of doing it, but it worked, didn't it? To play out from the back and, you know.
Okay, Brentford, Bournemouth. Did you know, lads, that Brentford have got the best home form in the whole of the Premier League? Played 6, won 5, drew 1, lost none. You guaranteed goals when it comes to playing there.
I think everybody wants to go to watch Brentford at home. The goal fest is incredible. I mean, look, these are 2 teams that are not fashionable, not seen as big name profile Premier League teams. But I'll tell you what, both clubs are run properly. Both teams have got fantastic managers. Yeah. And it's ended up being a mid-table game of real quality. Could have gone either way. And I think it's a credit to both coaches and both football clubs to say where they're at. But what Thomas Frank is still managing to do with Brentford is incredible. And Wissa, I mean, we laugh and joke about where's Ivan Toney every time I'm on. But where is this guy? Because what these lads are doing up front for Brentford is phenomenal.
Where is Ivan Toney? What team?
Exactly.
What team?
Exactly. Al Hilal.
Is it Al Hilal? I don't even know.
They wear green, it's number 99.
That's fine without him, they really are.
In the bank, that's for his.
Yeah, you're not wrong, yeah. The Bank of Abu Dhabi.
I think them 2 teams are a breath of fresh air for the Premier League.
Yeah.
Incredible, yeah.
Al-Hilali. Al-Hilali.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Al-Hilali.
Al-Hilal.
It's my Irish accent, you couldn't.
Try and say that, go on. Al-Hilali.
Al-Hilali.
That's
a basketball move, isn't it?
But yeah, fantastic start for even both of these teams. You know, obviously, I don't know if you watched the Brighton Fulham game last season. Sorry, I don't know if
Monday.
I don't know if you watched the Brentford Fulham game on Monday. Oh my God, what a game! By the way.
Harry Wilson.
Oh, it was incredible. Harry Wilson, 2 goals, injury time, absolute killer. But even then, what a start to the season Brentford have had. I think both teams these now are 11th and 12th, 16 points, 2 points off of 7th. I love it. It's good to see, isn't it?
Do you think though, Thomas Frank, for all he's done there with Brentford, do you think he's ever going to be given that opportunity to break into that top 4 by moving to a bigger club? Do you think somebody's going to think he's the man?
Honest answer, no. I don't think he will.
I really like him.
Do you think he'd get a top 4 job though?
I know, yeah. I mean, when the Man U job came up, I thought, would he be the worst option?
No, he wouldn't be the worst option.
The way they are at the moment, the way that he adapts to every game. You see the way they played City away, and then the next week, whoever they're playing against, he'll change the way he plays. And by the way, make sure you're in your seat for kickoff because they always score straight after
Early
kickoff.
doors. It's a good question though, isn't it?
I like him as well.
He's likeable.
In terms of a top 4, who is top 4? You've got
Go on,
the
name
big
the
boys.
top 4
Like,
top
what
4
is the
teams.
top 4? You know, Liverpool, Man City,
City, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Arsenal, Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's not going to. I don't think he's ready for anybody like that. But certainly outside of that,
Well, Man U's outside of that, isn't they?
yeah.
They just replaced their manager though, but I think he's
Spurs or somebody like that, possibly. If Ange was to go, would be a
really
good
fit,
good shout for him.
wouldn't it? Spurs would be a really good fit.
I think Ange is brilliant there.
No, I think Postecoglou's been amazing for
He'll
him.
turn
and,
it round, but-
and I actually think his whole problem came in his own mentality when
Man City last year.
when Arsenal and all this crap.
He was
about
right
that,
in what he said.
Yes,
Yeah, he was right.
but like, can Thomas Frank get there? I'd like to think so, because as an ex-coach, and I never really wanted to be a manager, but for people to have done at the level what he's done consistently, he deserves an opportunity.
Didn't they not go up that first year at Brentford, and then they went up the next year?
Yeah.
And then when they went up, they struggled, and then he signed Christian Eriksen, and they stayed up.
Yeah.
Like, and
This
then
is
they've
their fourth
gone.
year.
Then they've got Tony.
But the club have recruited properly.
Yeah.
They've done what every club coming up should do.
do.
And if Thomas Frank was to move on, they'd have another great manager.
Brighton.
The way they do with
There's a
players.
good philosophy within the club, but I think Bournemouth have got that as well now.
Yeah, I agree. 2 good teams. Proper teams.
2 proper teams. I thought the one big talking point from the Bournemouth perspective was Areola's decision to change the goalie, because I thought Travers had been phenomenal for
I don't like it,
4 or
mate.
5 games.
I didn't like it whatsoever. I was very surprised. Travers has been fantastic. And it's a big ask to go away to Brentford and then put a new goalie in as well. Kepa, he struggled a bit. He really
with
did.
his physicality, because it's not his game, is it?
Exactly that. He struggled. The first goal, I think it was at the near post. Can't let that go in there. And even the third goal, the Wissa one, where he's just sort of chipped it over him, he's got caught in no man's land. But that comes about from not being a Saturday player. When you're in and out the team, you get little niggles and injuries. Those are the little bits that just go missing, and it takes a while to get them back. I don't know why they would have changed it, to be honest with you, because Travers did fantastic in the last few weeks and all.
No, I thought that's probably the only place you can forget about City and all that. As a goalie, you're up against it there.
You
physically.
just want solid. You know what you're going to get from your goalie, and you want him to play 38 games every single season. Don't go chopping and changing too much. United Leicester then, lads. Ruud van Nistelrooy's final game before Ruben Amorim comes in. What do you think will happen with him, lads?
Is it farewell, is it?
Do you think he's gone, or what?
What do you think? I don't know. Scholes saying they should leave. Was it Scholes saying they should leave?
Yeah.
I think he probably should leave. I don't think Ruben Amorim will want him around.
He won't
the
want
place.
them hands-on.
No.
And I think Ruud would probably want to be, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Who brought him to the club? Was it actually Ten Hag? Or was it
Ten Hag, yeah.
It was actually him.
in the summer.
Like, we've been around football clubs. You understand the dynamic of how it works, and whenever there's a temporary or an interim manager, when the new manager comes in, it's almost like they want a clean cut, don't they? A clean break. So he's
but
out
Man
the
United
way.
have been crying out for people that have been
Part of the
involved-
club.
part of the club
Yeah, part of
to
the club.
be in, and now it's like, should they get rid of him and have a complete new slate?
It's
So
like he's got it in their DNA
what do you get?
kind of thing. Yeah, he knows the United way, doesn't he?
Exactly.
He's part of a successful team. He understands how the club works, how it runs.
But then if you feel threatened by him, or
That's
not,
the bit, though. That's the
then
bit.
do you trust him? That's the question. That's the main
I know.
question, isn't it?
Well, when you
right.
get onto the coaching side of it, that's such a tight number, depending on the level you're operating at. And that's what you talk about, really. It's all about the trust. Look, you talk about the DNA of Man United. Moyes gave Giggs his first opportunity to coach, didn't he? Because he felt as though exactly what you've said. We need that Man United DNA. Fergie's gone. We've got to keep something. And look, I think they've lost the way for sure, Man United. But I'm like you. I think this guy coming in is the real deal. And Van Nistelrooy's done great for 4 games. But the part that he's got and what he's done with them players, the new guy wants to come and put a real stamp on it. And Van Nistelrooy, if he's offered the opportunity to stand right on the fringes over there, he's going to have a little...
Depends what he wants as well, though. He might
He's been a
want to
manager,
go back
hasn't he?
into management.
Yeah,
He's
sure.
a manager, he's come out of it. he possibly after these last 3 or 4 games might
go.
He was a proper manager as well, PSV, like proper manager.
So he might want to go back into management.
Can you explain, lads, how when a manager gets sacked, you have a little interim period? So Ruud's taken charge for 4 matches now, 1-3 drew one, I think it is. Why those Man United players are able to raise their level? I know the fixtures have been a little bit easier, but they've raised their level. You can see it on the pitch, can't you? Even against Leicester, the work rate. Everybody seems a little bit more applied, a bit more interested. Why is that?
It's almost like relief to start with. No pressure. You've got no pressure on you playing. But then also people feel like there's a clean slate. So like everyone goes back to, I don't know, doing more gym sessions or getting in earlier or doing this. But then eventually people always revert to type.
Take the foot off the gas.
It's a week or two, or whether it's a week, 2, a month, 2 months, they will always revert back to type. So they always get found out in the end.
Yeah, they will. It'll all come around and it'll all come the same again. If the results start going bad when Amarin's in charge, the players will start dipping their heads down, performances will dip. Like we saw with Ollie Solskjaer, didn't we, a few years back? We saw it with Ollie Solskjaer, won 13 games in a row or something like that. They give him the job and you see how it works out. It's but this was a massive game for Man United, this. Big old 6-pointer, you know. He's a big old 6-pointer.
Exactly. Look, I think Leicester, going into the game, that's a tough fixture. I think Vardy missing were huge for him, and you spoke off camera about the body language of some of them players, Ayew in particular at certain points walking, and I think when Vardy as your captain, talisman, leader is not driving that team on, you cannot have any passengers at Man United, and a hungry Man United. It were more like of old, the crowd are with them, they're seeing something different. And for Leicester not to have had him in the team, I think, were a very, very big miss. But a tough fixture for him, no doubt. But the big joke, like you said, ultimately, it's a 6-pointer. That's where Man United are at.
Saturday would have gone above each other, so Man United winning, there's a 5-point gap now. What do you make, Stu, of Garnacho not celebrating when he scored his goal?
Yeah, I don't know. He always comes across to me like he's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet.
Yeah,
like he's
chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with him. I think you've just scored for Man United and you don't celebrate. It's like, just stay in your lane kind of thing for me. Like,
right,
just.
Can you imagine, right, honestly, lads, can you imagine when Sir Alex Ferguson's manager, a young player who's come through the books at Man United, he gets on the pitch and he scores a goal for you. I don't know how many appearances Garnacho has got for Man United, 50, nearly 100 or something like that, right? Yeah. But he's not a seasoned player. He's not even a starter yet. He starts some games, don't get me wrong. But if you score a goal for Man United, surely you have the biggest smile on your face, you're beaming, you're buzzing. If that was Sir Alex Ferguson, he would have absolutely ripped him off the pitch.
Well, he's not a regular scorer, is he? And it's a good goal. So surely you're going to enjoy that moment, aren't you? Or you'd like to think so.
Yeah, that to me, if you're playing every week and you're producing every week, you might be able to get away with it. But the fact that he's not producing every week is like, you can't just...
Like you just said there, what's that new manager saying? So Amarin's seen that. Amarin has seen all the goals, he knows all the talking points, all the stories from the weekend from Manchester United, and he'd have seen Garnacho not celebrating, he'd be thinking,
he'd be thinking one or two things. He's either thinking, I've got a problem on my hands here, or I've got something to work with. That's the way he's going to have to approach it, isn't it?
68 league games for Manchester United. So score a goal, smile your face off. Well done, lads, we won 3-0.
And what do you think, Bruno, 250th game? He were playing with a smile on his face. And do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think he were happy that Ten Hag had...
I think it's a bit of everything. Yeah. I agree with all of the above, Dave. I really, really do. I think he's probably very happy to see the back of Erik Ten Hag, and he knows that he's got a good manager coming in, another Portuguese.
It's all right that he said all the right things on social media, hasn't
Of course, yeah. As long as you do it on social media, on Instagram, mate, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you do on the pitch. It's all about that, all right? Quickly, though, before we move on to Southampton, I did make a joke last week that Ruben Amorim was going to be sporting Lisbon manager against Man City in the Champions League, and imagine Man City went there and popped them 6-0. It's not a great start to life of him as Manchester United manager, and he went and won 4-1. So apologies, Ruben. Well done, mate. Happy for you. Really, really good. Nottingham Forest and lads, Newcastle. Forest before this game were 5th in the Premier League. Ended up losing the game. Took a lead though through the big beast that is Murillo.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Forest fans have fallen in love with this guy. As a centre-half, you'd know more than me, potentially, but he seems to be the real deal, and he loves defending. I mean, it's always a bonus if you can knock a few in. His first goal for the club from a set-piece. And they've gone in 1-0 at half-time, and the real surprise to me was that they didn't not only win the game, but take something from the game, because Forest under Nuno have been a breath of fresh air this season. And 1-0 up at the City Ground, I would have expected them to at least get something out of that game from that point.
Newcastle, they have got some players, they've got some depth as well. Harvey Barnes coming on, scoring. Isak, though, lads, Could he play for any team in the Premier League? Could he get into one of those top 4, 5, 6 teams?
I don't see why not. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, he can play off the left. He can play down the middle.
That's a big plus for him, is being able to play in different positions.
And he's got it, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah.
He's got it.
Even that goal from the weekend, how he reacted so quickly,
Yeah.
just to finish it, is. I think he could.
He set the tempo second half. I think he came out like firing. He was ready to go. Yeah, but he's good, isn't he?
He's like,
he's good.
Look at him, like physically, yeah? He doesn't look like he's that big, does he? He looks a bit skinny, if anything, right? But he puts it about as well. And his work rate's incredible. He don't shy out from a tackle. He's happy getting on the end of balls into the box with headers. And I reckon he could, lads. I think he could play for any team in the Premier League. And if you look at that Swedish connection now, I'm having them down for winning a World Cup in a few years' time, lads. A little Swedish trio of Gyökeres, Isak and Kulusevski.
Yeah, throw Larsson and Zlatan in the mix.
Mate, what a team. Thomas Brolin, we're cooking that. Honestly. Who was the Swedish goalie back in the day? Isaacson, there you go. Man City goalie. Isaacson, remember him?
No.
Nope. Big win for Newcastle, though. I think that puts Newcastle up to 8th. A lot of people saying that this hasn't been a fantastic start for them this season, but that's not the end of the world. Played 11, won 5, drew 3, lost 3.
Fantastic. Would you have saved Joe Linton's left foot swinger?
Lads, have you seen Joe Linton's left foot swinger?
It was a stiff swinger.
It was stiff, really.
You're not having it, are you?
Mate, it's so stiff. It's so right. It's so much of a wooden swinger, yeah. And don't worry, it's a fantastic finish, gone right in the corner. But I guarantee you, even he would have been so surprised it went in the corner.
Think it was celebration,
mate. Because it's so stiff, it's like he plants his foot and just stops. And it's almost like Eric Cantona. Remember when he did that one with his collar over Perez for Sunderland? Yeah, it was a bit like that. He didn't know what he was doing, so he's like, "I'll just stand here then."
Yeah.
Sweet as a
nut.
He owned it. Fantastic finish. But Lewis Hall, England call-up, natural left-footed left back. We needed somebody like this, didn't we, Water?
Yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic thing for him. He's obviously stepped up to the plate. He's proving that he's a Premier League footballer. I think Lee Carsley's doing his old young players. He's helping the boys out. He's obviously picked 3 or 4 in this
what do you mean by that?
in his last squad.
Caps away.
Yeah. Happy caps.
But yeah, hey, look, if you could have ever got that England call up for sure, it's things that dreams are made of. And these lads have obviously done Carsley a real shift back from his under 21 days, and he's actually now obviously doing them a favour, if you like. And he obviously thinks that these guys are capable. But it's a big step up to get.
Is it easier to get England caps than it's ever been, do you think? This is no disrespect to Lewis Hall, because he's fantastic, by the way.
There's more games?
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because there's more games. But it seems to me now, like, you've got players, who was the other word? Harwood Bellis got a call-up as well. You're talking about players that might have only played a handful of Premier League games getting called into the England squad. I remember back in the day, you talk about that famous England squad with Rio Ferdinand and Ashley Cole and Scholesy, Lampard.
But there's less.
It was so hard to get into that.
Games.
They are. Let's see.
Like,
the Nations
that the way
League.
it's been seen?
And I think this is a really unique situation. Southgate's left. Carsley's had 6 games.
Yeah.
And to be fair to him, he's giving the lads who have given him a platform a chance as well. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not quite sure whether they can step straight into that level, having played so few Premier League games. But Lee Carsley thinks they're good enough. He's given them an opportunity. Is it a case,
do you think, of maybe just giving them a little bit of exposure early doors in their 20s, early 20s, so that it's like that's part of what they do?
Questions that everyone's asking, isn't it? Like, I think Carsley's answering the questions that everyone's asked over the years. Everyone's gone, Southgate, it's boring, it's this, it's that, play him, play that. And he's just gone, here you go.
Yeah.
I think they're just searching around, trying to find the right fit.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it looks like with England, and this is probably the right time to do it.
And Carsley's obviously giving Tuchel a little bit, saying, here, look, they were good enough in here, and here they are. So they're in the last England squad before he takes over January the 1st. So when he comes to March, these are the lads who have been in it. That's the reality. Yeah. Now, what happens between then and now, for now and then, depend on, because the young players in the Premier League, we'll wait and see. But Carsley just left a little marker for Thomas saying,
there you go, mate.
There you go, mate. This is what I'm giving you.
All right, then. Wolves, Southampton. Wow, what a win for Wolves. Absolutely massive win for Wolves. Southampton felt a little bit aggrieved after this one, Watto. Your old boys. The VAR goal definitely should have stood, right?
Yeah, I felt sorry for them in terms of the potential VAR decisions going against them. But they've got a massive win last week against Everton, and you've got to take that on.
Yeah.
You can't get beat at Wolves. No. You just cannot. If you're going to try and take any momentum, they're coming into a run of fixtures post this international break that are absolutely brutal, which is polar opposite to where Gary O'Neill has been with his Wolves team. So I think for Southampton to have got beat here, very, very difficult run of fixtures coming. I think VAR's done them a little bit. I think they could have certainly scored the goal. I really don't see how that's disallowed, if I'm honest. As a centre-half, would you be wanting to say that's a foul against you that leads up to the second goal? You don't want to stop a goal like Cunha's for that. And I think it could have been 50-50, to be fair. But I think the first goal should have definitely stood.
I think it's the inconsistencies of a refereeing, isn't it? And the VAR. I'm very conscious of talking about VAR because it seems like everyone just talks about VAR now rather than the actual games. Yeah. That's the thing that I don't like, really. It's just, I think there could have been 2 fouls in the second goal for Wolves.
But like
could have
you
been
said,
given.
Without VAR, we wouldn't be having that discussion because the refs just deemed on the field that they're not, the soft fouls, if I give them, let's play on, and we've just seen a wonderful finish from Cunha, finished. But because there's VAR, we're asking, why has he not gone for the first foul? Why has he not gone to the Dawson foul? Where actually you've got to say, look, in the end...
At some point, you've got to draw a line. Right, nothing's been given, so let's just move on. This was called Builders El Sakiko, lads, before the game. El Sakiko. You got Gary O'Neill and you got Russell O'Martin. They were saying whoever loses is facing serious pressure. Do you
think Southampton could end up on the lowest points?
Well,
ever
let's have a look at it. The bottom of the league, played 11, won 1, drew 1, lost 9, scored 7 goals, 4 points. So they're rock bottom. Russell Martin, is he under pressure? I think he is a little bit. I really do. They've lost the game 2-0. There were a couple moments in this game as well where they're playing out from the back, and it worked incredibly well last week, didn't it, against Everton? Some of the times they got out last week was phenomenal, and they're trying to do it again, and it wasn't working this game. And I just think stats don't lie, lads. When you're bottom of the league after 11 games with 4 points,
he's not changing how he plays.
No chance. That's the problem. That's the part of it, though, that I think will put him under pressure. And now the international break's coming up as well. We know how clubs like to make a move sort of now, really, don't they? So a new manager has probably got 2 weeks before the next set of Premier League fixtures.
Yeah, but mate, if you look at them fixtures, what we just alluded to, and you're phoned up saying, we're thinking about changing with Russell. Do you fancy coming in? Look at these fixtures we've got. Like, so who's really?
Nothing, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Give us a call after Christmas.
You're not rubbing your hand. You're not rubbing your hands thinking I'm going to make a big difference here, are you? You know what I mean? I think
them next 5 games, that could be another minus frigging 20 goal difference. That could be genuinely. If it goes badly, it could be another minus 20 goal difference.
Look, Russell Martin for sure is under pressure, but I think the club have put themselves into massive pressure now. Just in terms of recruitment with the fixtures that's coming. Look, any manager or coach thinks you can make a difference when you come in, but you're being very disrespectful to the level of the opposition if you think you can change that group and squad of players.
So Liverpool, Brighton, Chelsea, Villa and Spurs, next 5 Southampton fixtures. Nah, give me a call after Christmas.
Stewie's doing his coaching until then.
Russell, you're right, just stay in for another month or so, lad. Wow, yeah, that's not great.
And what about you, mate? Aaron Ramsdale got absolute dogs abuse.
Oh, dogs abuse. Obviously, he's a West Brom fan. West Brom fans don't go down well at Molineux. They really don't, mate. They don't like us.
What about ex-players?
Yeah, ex-players. They do not like us, mate, I promise you. So, yeah, he got an absolute shed load of abuse from the Wolves fans. He didn't have the greatest of games, to be fair to him, did he? Like I say, he was fantastic last week against Everton, but it struggled a little bit. And then in net for Wolves, Jose Sarr started ahead of Sam Johnstone on the bench, just got back from injury. How does that dynamic work, Watto, when you've had a goalie who's the established number one, come in, big money in the summer, gets a little injury, but Jose Sarr's come in and done well for him?
Well, I think the reality is that the team have looked a little bit more stable and solid since Sarr's come back in. Look, he's a fantastic goalie, lots of experience, been around the Portuguese national team for years and years and years. Really established Premier League goalie, to be fair, but probably dropped off a little bit towards the end of last season. They thought they would try and get an enhancement in that department. Signed Sam Johnstone for not cheap, 10 million quid. And the team started really poorly. That's the reality, and that's not all about Sam Johnstone for sure. You want to, in any position, hit the ground running. When you're a goalie, you want to make saves and you want clean sheets and you want the team to establish itself. The team didn't do that for him. He's had a little knock. Sarr's come in and the team have picked up. And when you're in that position, in the goals, naturally now it will be very, very difficult for Sam Johnstone to reclaim his place, because there's only two things happen. Jose Sarr has to have a big drop-off in performance, or there's an injury.
What do you want from your goalie, Stu? What if you had to sort of think of a goalie that's going to be playing behind you, how old do you want him to be? Steady, making saves? What do you want?
Somebody who's commanding,
Yeah.
I think. Somebody who I know that if I'm a defender, I feel confident with what's behind me. You don't want to be playing in a team where you're constantly on the back foot and you think, Jesus, if we're conceding chances, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a goal. So I don't really know. It's not my area to talk about goalkeepers, but as you say, for Sam Johnstone now to get back in the team, Gary O'Neill, he's not going to change it in 2 or 3 games time again, so he's just going to have to bide his time, and possibly with an injury or something, he might get back.
You just want the keeper to make good decisions, don't you?
Yeah.
And know that he's not going to be erratic, basically.
Steady.
That's exactly what you're after. As a defender, you just think, yeah, I know he's going to make a good decision behind me. He's either going to sweep it up or he's not, and I know that he's going to do that.
How would you deal with the Jordan Pickford-type goalkeeper behind you, shouting at you every second of the game, Tozer?
Is that a dig? Is that a dig?
How would you deal with that? Would you have...
I feel like you're coming at me. I feel like you're coming at me. It's about
and I know how snappy you get on the pitch, all right?
How would I deal with it? I mean, listen, he's a fantastic goalkeeper, isn't it? There's not many left-footed goalkeepers that play behind me.
Have you got the ability? Have you got the ability to bite your tongue though?
Yeah, I think. But then again, on the pitch, right? It's never personal, is it? You have them little spats, and it just snap. It's gone. You get on with it. That's just. I think that's the way that it is, and that's the way it's going to be. Then that's fine, as long as it's not like carrying on. You're not turning around and going like, "Shut up, you knobhead," or what. You know.
But you would though. I know you would. You're giving it the big one now. I've seen you do it. You do that. You're the one that's snapping every second at everyone.
Feeling the pressure.
Right, we've got a couple more games to go. We're going to go to Palace against Fulham, though. Emile Smith-Rowe continue. What a fantastic season he's had. Harry Wilson got the other one. There was a funny picture Alex Iwobi put up, actually, on Instagram after the game. Emile Smith-Rowe, he said, mate, get out of the gym, would you? His little chest, his little tiny pigeon chest.
Little pigeon chest,
just got him offside for a second one. But Fulham absolutely flying, by the way. I watched them on Monday Night Football last week. They were pummeling Brentford, absolutely pummeling Brentford. Incredible finish to the game as well. Fulham, lads, up to 7th.
Yeah. Marco Silva, I think he's been a phenomenal coach at the level for years. Yeah. Obviously started his pathway, got a chance from nowhere really when he went into Hull and obviously developed on from there. I think Fulham are a fantastic football team. I think ultimately I'm not surprised by this result. I know that Palace have got a few injuries, but I think Glasner's under massive pressure.
Strange for me that I really expected them to kick on this year after how they finished.
6 wins in a row at the end of last season, Stu. 6 wins in a row, and then how do they go then?
Well, like your Liverpool.
That's what I mean. Proper big wins, and then how do you go? What has gone wrong in the summer to start the season like they have? Because as it stands, Crystal Palace. Well, 3rd from bottom, played 11, won 1, drew 4, lost 6, 7 points. 3rd from bottom.
You used to look at Crystal Palace and think going to Selhurst Park was
tough.
Brutal. I know it's cliche to say it's a tough place to go, but it was. Genuinely
really wasn't it?
Was brutal. And now teams are going and coming away with wins. He's obviously got the injuries. He's lost Elise as well, to Bayern Munich. He has injuries. You know, I look at their midfield. The young lad from Northern Ireland, Justin Devaney, he's had to throw him in at the deep end at the weekend. And
it's a big ask, isn't it?
It's a big ask for a team that's struggling. To go and perform in the Premier League. Premier League's brutal, isn't it?
It's brutal.
Really?
But like, I think the injuries have been bad, but like Mateta's not started this season like last season.
Eze's had a few little knocks.
Eze's had his knocks. Wharton missing at the weekend. You've got Anderson's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always think they'll have enough, Palace, because the home form and everything else with them. And ultimately, looking at the teams that came up, I still think they'd have enough. But at the minute, he's probably under more pressure than Russell Martin, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's. I think the Anderson one for me was maybe the biggest one. Don't get me wrong, with Elise, you know, you're selling somebody who's it's going to make you a lot of money, but he creates a lot of chances. But I think that solidness that you had with Gay and Anderson at the back, I think sometimes 30 million quid, I think it was. Am I right in saying that, the transfer? I think sometimes you have to go, no, do you know what? Because for us to replace it, it's just not going to work. Even if we spend 30 million quid, it's just not going to work. Yeah. So what's the point in doing it?
Yeah, it's like you're not only replacing the person, it's a partnership.
Exactly,
That too is a partnership at the core of the team. It's huge. I think, talking about Fulham as well, though, the three behind the striker, they're exciting, aren't they? They're all good players.
They all seem to be on the same page as well. Good coaching, that is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And he's getting a tune out of all three of them. And then you've got Andres Pereira, who was at Man U as a younger player. And
Wilson's flying, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the video of in the dressing room the other night after the game. Did you see it?
Yes.
He was speaking and talking about him having to bide his time and stuff. And he scored another one in injury time as well.
How important are them players? Like, you've seen so many players that, like, say, Garnacho, for example, he's not happy with how it's going in his situation. He scores goals and he's miserable, he's moping around the place. Or do you want that? Do you want that guy there who scores a goal, runs around, puts it about, smile on his face? That's what you want, isn't it?
Not only on the match day, but day in, day out.
Day in, day out, yeah.
Monday to
Friday.
Friday.
Creating the environment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, love it, lads. Right, let's finish with a nice little ball draw for you then. West Ham, Everton. We've got, behind the screen, you guys can't see this, we've got all like the talking points of the game. We've got nothing for this. Absolutely zero. West Ham 0, Everton 0. Goalies on top, Watto.
Goalies on top. Pickford, amazing save.
Fire.
Dyche will be absolutely buzzing. If I'm Lopetegui, I'd be slightly concerned just because of the culture at West Ham and what it is. But for Everton, Pickford, Dyche, best result of the week for him.
Without doubt.
Lopetegui.
Quiz then? Is that starting now?
No, but
sorry.
Before we move on, right, I just want to myth bust a little bit, right? So people always think 0-0, oh, that's boring, that's miserable. This game actually wasn't that boring, was it, to be fair? There were lots of chances.
Match of the day made it look like a good game.
Yeah. It was a good game.
It was like...
Well, your mate Somerville, he was the star of the show, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
What, have you ever seen him do a sliding
never
tackle
seen
and a
him,
block
no.
like that in your life?
Whenever I seen him running, I was watching him and I was thinking, he started jogging and I thought, yeah, typical. And then he just took off. And I don't know if you've seen it, the sliding tackle, like at the end.
Incredible. I was nearly off my chair because I'm thinking, this guy's never going to do that.
Yeah, no, fair play to him. But yeah, he's a big signing for them as well, and it hasn't really happened for him. I think the Man United game where he scores, it's sort of taken off. But I think they're a club that's struggling.
They
are. They're lost. I agree. West Ham.
And I listened to TalkSport a bit on at the weekend, and like fans are calling in. There's a guy called in. And he said he's not going back again. He's season ticket for so many years, and they've lost their identity and what they're about. So they're a team that needs to find their way back at the minute.
Yeah, I think there's a few managers going into this international break, kind of half looking at the phones half the time. Thinking,
Moyes for the third time.
Don't want it. Wouldn't surprise though, would it, mate? See what I mean? West Ham fans, be thankful for what you got. The grass ain't always greener.
No,
you know?
It's not. But then at the same time, they're right to want change and whatever.
Yeah,
but then it's down to the owners to make the right change. Right. It's not that's not the fans' fault.
Yeah, true.
They're allowed to, voice
Anyway, goalies on top. A quick stat for you as well, you lot. Lucas Fabianski is currently only 77 saves away from being the all-time save maker in the Premier League.
Well, if he stays in that team, he'll soon get there.
Ariola, any chance of you getting him back in the team, by the way?
Is yours the record?
Oh yeah, it's me who's top.
We're not teed that one.
Is it? Yeah. Foster on top. Fabianski 77 behind. Alphonse, mate, get yourself back fit. Get yourself back in the team. Lucas, you're old. Get out the team. We don't want you in there. All right. I love you really, mate. Only joking. Lads, quiz time. We ready? We good?
Good.
Let's go.
We are back today with the football filling quiz. We've got 10 questions. Stu, do you know how the quiz works?
Yeah, just shout answers.
Fastest finger first.
Right or wrong?
There you go. Okay. If you get it wrong, you're out.
No buzzer or anything?
Yeah, no buzzer.
No Let's go, come on.
And you might be able to get all back in, but I've got to say it first, and then you're all back in.
Cool. Jamie's got a problem with his hearing.
What?
I don't.
Because we've had a couple where we've both shouted in like similar times, but he's...
Always goes with you.
Yeah.
You're closer, aren't you?
I pay his wages. So.
Bollocks.
Question 1. Evan Nilsson scored at the weekend, but what nationality is
Brazil.
Brazil is the correct answer.
See, that's what I said.
Ben Foster.
It's all Ben Foster.
Quicker than that,
We've got
Benjamin.
two Bens today. We've got two Bens. So
You've got to be quicker than that, Benjamin.
Yeah, you started well.
You're probably Ben. You are a Benjamin, aren't you?
Just Ben.
Fair.
I'm Ben as well.
You don't meet many just Bens, you know.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I thought it was just eating.
there we go, 1-0. Question 2. Charlie Adam is managing which league
Fleetwood
team?
Town.
Fleetwood Town.
Is he? I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I should have let you get one, shouldn't I?
Spoiled me there, yeah. You should
No,
have
mate,
set
ruthless.
me
That's the
up there,
difference, yeah. Premier League, Championship, yeah.
Killers.
We don't.
Killers.
Yeah.
What about National League?
Question 3. Erling Haaland was the last Premier League player to win the Premier League Golden Boot back-to-back. But who was the last player to do so?
Hurricane.
Harry Kane's the correct answer.
Oh, it's good, isn't it, lads? It's really good. Don't put that look on your face. Don't put that look on your face.
Could have been, yeah. I was
You had a
thinking
look
way
of.
back.
How
That's
do you
what I
get
was
that
thinking
so
as well,
quickly? I
yeah.
don't believe that.
That's what I thought, sure.
Hey, he's not won yet, Tom. Don't worry.
Question 4 is a career path question. I have played for Boca Juniors, Corinthians,
Neymar.
West Ham. No.
Tevez.
No. Tevez is the correct answer.
I had that straight away.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
had to wait for West Ham.
You sometimes
it
got to
though, yeah.
gamble, Stu, and
Who did I say?
sometimes it
Neymar.
pays off.
Neymar.
No chance.
So, Ben, yeah, okay. I'm going to let Tom keep the score.
That's fair.
Question 5, I've got a Who Am I question.
Jamie, Ireland.
I am the top goal scorer for my country, but I've never won a trophy with my nation.
Haaland.
No, you're frozen out.
You're gone.
You're gone.
I have played the majority of my football in the Premier League and could be considered as an all-time great when I leave. I have won the Champions League twice and have also won the Premier League for my club for the first time in their history.
Salah.
Salah's the correct answer. It's good, that, what, eh?
Oh, you
More than
can't
my
go. You
knowledge.
can't have zero. You know. You can't have zero.
Just give me one.
Stu's panicking now. He don't like it because he
Sweating
knows.
here, yeah. Hands are
Guess from
sweating.
0, look over the quiz. So 2 for Watto, 2 for Ben, 2 for Ben
Who's the
Tozer.
answer? Salah.
One for me.
One for Ben Tozer. One for Ben Tozer.
1 for Ben Tozer.
That's one, yeah.
2-2-1 now.
Yeah.
One.
Question 6. There are only 2 Mexicans ever to be sent off in the Premier League.
Chickarito.
No, you're both out. You're both out.
Salah.
No, I haven't even finished the
Oh,
question
you're
yet.
right.
Yeah,
I've got one in my head. I hope
all
it's
the
right.
time in the world.
But if he gets it wrong, if he gets it...
Yeah, they both said it.
Yeah, but they both said
They
it.
both said it at the same time. They normally are frozen out when they say it.
Probably. There's not many. There's not many Mexicans have played in the Premier League, though, is there?
There are only 2 Mexicans ever to be sent off in the Premier League. Last weekend, it was Edson Alvarez. Who is the other?
Is that the answer?
Yeah.
Is it Jimenez?
Raul Jimenez is the correct
Very
answer.
good. Very good.
Would you got that, Stu?
No. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course I would.
Question 7. Who is currently the only Scottish manager in the Premier League? Who is currently the only Scottish manager in the Premier League? Ooh. No one's got an early.
McKenna.
No.
Martin.
Russell Martin's the correct answer.
Russell Martin's Scottish.
Yes,
And
he's
his-
Scottish, yeah.
Hannah's
He
Irish.
sounds like Orlando.
No,
Same
no.
thing, though, isn't it? Yeah.
No.
Every time.
What, it takes the lead? 3 points.
Struggle bus.
Who said McKenna? You.
Yeah.
This is worse than playing for Leeds United.
A long train journey back home, lads.
You can still come back. You can still make it to a tiebreaker.
Oh, God.
Question 8. Bobby Zamora ended his career at what club?
Brighton.
Brighton's the correct answer.
That's massive. Massive.
Question 9. Which current stadium named in the Premier League this season is first in alphabetical order?
Amex.
No.
Anfield.
Anfield's the correct answer. Darcy's celebrating. Darcy's cheering.
Darcy's cheering.
You had to give him a Liverpool question, didn't you?
It's one letter out. You had nothing in your head, did you?
No,
Nah, sound.
I didn't.
So, Watto's on 3. Ben, you're on 3. Ben
2.
on 2.
1.
You're on 1.
We're guests. We're working together. We're on 3.
Yeah. Question 10. The Swedish international Alexander Isak. Sorry. no, I'm not. That was my bad. That was my bad. So you're still in. You're still in.
Soft.
The Swedish international Alexander Isak scored at the weekend for Newcastle, but who is the highest scoring goal scorer in Premier League history?
Alan Shearer.
Swedish goal scorer in Premier League history.
Last name
Did
Arsenal.
you?
Ibrahimovic.
No.
Am I right or
You're
not?
back in.
No.
You say it, say it.
Freddie Ljungberg.
No, not Larson.
Freddie Ljungberg.
Freddie Ljungberg's the correct answer.
He's not back in.
He is.
Why is he not giving them all that?
He went, no, you're okay.
Yeah.
How?
No, but Jamie said at the
He
start,
didn't make it
you're
clear. It
okay.
was Swedish. Only Swedish, did
man. Jamie?
As I wouldn't have said Alan Shearer, would I?
Yeah, but what? Right.
You would never
Right,
have got
no,
anyway.
hold on. Technically, he got the answer correct beforehand because what I said was Alan Shearer, but I corrected myself and went for Swedish, and he came in with Freddie Ljungberg.
So you changed the question halfway through?
Good officiating, Jay.
Yeah.
Stay strong. I like it.
Brilliant. I love it, Joe.
Not everyone likes referees, but
I did ask once.
Three-way tiebreak.
normally right. 3-way tiebreaker.
So
I'm out.
3. Unfortunately, Stuart, you don't get to participate.
But you got one right,
So
mate.
we're on 4.
Thank God
We're
for
on
that.
4 as a team.
Guests.
Put me out of my misery.
We're on
Yes,
4
you
though.
could get on one.
Guests.
No.
Right, so us 3 only. Tiebreaker, bring
You're
it on.
sweating a
I
bit.
bet you I know this one
I
as
am
well.
sweating.
I bet you I know this one. Yeah.
Tiebreakers, what to choose? Right, we're going to go for this one. Can you name one of the 2 players who hold the record for the most assists in a single Premier League
Fabregas.
season? No, you're
Thierry
out.
Henry.
Thierry Henry's the correct answer.
I'm going to say the Bruyne.
The Bruyne is the other one, yeah. Why?
What was the question?
Who's got the most assists in a single Premier League season?
Thierry Henry has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
20?
KDB.
25?
20.
20.
Oh my gosh.
Who did you say?
Fabregas. That's not
Kane
bad
could have
guess.
got that, you know. Kane could have
Yeah, okay.
got that one, you remember.
Oh, well
Yeah,
done,
well
lads.
done. Ben
Well
Toad's
done,
got the
Ben.
guests off the donut.
You ain't coming back. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Stuart Dallas, incredible. Dave Watson, fantastic. Ben Tozer, well done. You got a point for the quiz, guys. And Jamie, up. See you next week, you lot. Thank you.